The Dokkan 10th anniversary has been the North Star, if you will, to the fandom and the dev team alike. But can it actually deliver on the hype? That's what we're here to find out today. And if Legends Fest 2024 has taught me anything, it's that they need to nail the character selection. And obviously, we're all thinking the same thing here, fusions. However, fusions have been done a lot in this game to varying degrees. So if we do revisit fusions once more, and you revisit the like button, because why not? They also need to nail their kits. Of course, we can't get too ahead of ourselves here because anniversary celebrations have 4 characters, and I don't think we're getting fusions for every single character slot. Not to say I don't think there could be 4 fusions here though, just that they won't take up all 4 slots. But more on that in just a minute. I also imagine they will stick with a 9th anniversary and worldwide celebration format where there is a part 1 Dokkan Fest LR and Carnival LR, as well as a part 2 Dokkan Fest LR and Carnival LR. Now, before we get to the juicy part and discuss the characters, we first need to talk mechanics, since that will play directly into our actual character selection here. We do usually see something new for the anniversary in specific. Like last year, we were introduced to Gogeta and Beast Gohan's ability to direct all attacks to them, no matter what slot they were in. 8th anniversary introduced us to standby skills, 7th anniversary with intros, and so on. You get the point. So I came up with 2 different types of mechanics that I think we could definitely see here for the 10th anniversary. And I think both of these could make it really stick out, and not only that, but also allow them to revisit some of the already characters in this game, since the roster of Dokkan is already so complete, and make a lot of those old characters feel fresh. First up, we have selectable transformations. Think Vegeta, Goku, and Frieza, but actually fun to use, and with no stupid turn restrictions. Okay, have it be built exactly like the Tech LR Broly, where you can do whichever transformation you want immediately out of the gates on turn 1. And this would obviously open up a ton of options for what they could do with characters like the ones we're going to talk about in a moment. The other mechanic I wanted to bring to the table here is tag switching. It's in Legends, and I think we are more than ready for a similar mechanic to be here in Dokkan Battle. Fairly easy to imagine what they would do. Let's keep it simple. Let's imagine it is a Goku and Vegeta unit, and the Vegeta side is a defense style unit that can go into slot 1, but for it to be flexible and to fit on many different teams, you could then have the Goku side of the unit. You just press a button and swap over to Goku. He could then be a slot 2 or 3 unit and be more attack focused. And then you could sort of choose between the two based on the needs of your actual team. That is obviously a very simplistic way to look at it, but would essentially be what it would boil down to. And I think would be a way they could revisit a ton of characters they've already done, but with a slight twist. And that would just add a lot of cool elements to in terms of the actual gameplay that you'd be doing in the game too, having this flexibility to go between an attack and a defense style unit like on the fly. Each rotation, you could change them back and forth. That'd be really cool. Now, with both of these mechanics in mind, let's start talking actual characters we could see here for the 10th anniversary, starting with what we've already mentioned, fusions. I think there is only one singular timeline, like on a Doctor Strange type of thing, where fusions are not involved with the 10th anniversary at all. And we'll discuss that at the very end of this video. So I think we are at a solid 90% chance that we will see some form of a fusion during the 10th anniversary. And my hope is that they use the transformation mechanic that I just spoke on and basically allow us to choose which fusion we want to go into. Could be a card that lets you swipe up for Fusion Dance and swipe down for Potara, like you would have seen on the thumbnail, or could be a card that just simply lets you choose between going into Super Vegito or Vegito Blue. Genuinely believe this is a very real possibility that we see here for the 10th anniversary. Now, if for some reason they don't introduce a new type of mechanic, or at least not one exclusively like this, which isn't likely since they pretty much always introduce something new, and this is the 10th anniversary that they've had in gold on all these timelines, then I also think standalone versions of each of the fusions are absolutely on the table here too. We don't have a standalone LR of Super Vegito, Super Gogeta, Gogeta Blue. No, we don't. Look at it again. We don't have one for him. SHA4 Gogeta, or even a summonable standalone Vegito Blue, because guess what? The only standalone VB in the game is the free-to-play LR. So when they first reveal the part 1 units, which will presumably be at Battle Hour on January 18th or 19th, I think we will see some form of Vegito or Gogeta or both right there as the card reveals for the first part of the 10th anniversary. But here's the thing, that's only half the equation of the anniversary. What else could they be cooking? Including the timeline I referenced where we don't get any fusions. In order to figure that out, we're gonna do something fun here where we go through each of the sagas and give it a rating out of 10 out of how likely I think it will be at the 10th anniversary. Feel free to join in down below, by the way. I would love to see some comments with different ratings to different sagas. You don't have to do them all, maybe just choose a few. Starting with the original Dragon Ball saga. I know it's multiple sagas, but we're just gonna put this one all together. I'm giving this a 2 out of 10. There is another concept I hadn't brought up yet that I do think could be a possibility, and it's a sort of like through the ages style of unit. I'm not so sure though if they did a through the ages style unit, it would also include Kid Goku, because I could see it being like a base Goku that has 10 different transformations to celebrate 10 years of Dokkan, and they could obviously also do the same thing for Vegeta, and that could be like the 2 units. It could be maybe the part 2 or something of that nature, or it could be part 1. Again, they do something very unique with it. So I'm giving OG Dragon Ball a 2 out of 10. I wouldn't say it's a like never say never type of situation, but I definitely think it's very low that OG is here. But I do think we'll see some form of an OG Dragon Ball celebration or release next year in some way. That brings us to the first saga of Dragon Ball Z, which would be the Saiyan saga. I'm gonna give this one a 5 out of 10, really because of the obvious other idea that I mentioned, but I'm not gonna keep using that as my crutch here to just, because obviously if that's the case, then every saga could be represented in some way, which again, not fell off the table, but I'm giving this a 5 out of 10 simply because of the 7th anniversary existing. We went from 2 fusions in part 1 into Saiyan Saga, Kaioken Goku, and Grade 8 Vegeta in part 2. So I'm not saying they would totally revisit and redo that, but I'm also not saying it isn't possible either. That brings us to the Namek and Frieza saga, which I'm going to give an actual 7 out of 10 here. I've seen a lot of people wanting to see them do this. I don't think if they revisited this saga, it would go back to worldwide just yet. So I could see it being here and it being some sort of complement to the actual Goku and Frieza from Worldwide 2021 that will be getting EZAs during this celebration. And this is probably a good time as any to bring up the sort of what could be hints here and align with a Namek saga involvement in the 10th anniversary because of the Dragon Ball Super card game. And as you can see here, there's a Goku and a Frieza. And I've been saying multiple times that they come back to this specific moment. I think what they'll do, obviously make them different variants, not immediately full power, not immediately Super Saiyan, so they can link well with their EZA counterparts, but then probably have some kind of transformation, etc. But they would be able to link with the 2021 worldwide units. And some people do believe this could be hints at the 10th anniversary because these do drop on February 14th, which is around the time part 2 of the anniversary will be dropping. Plus, if you take a look at all these cards right here, these are a lot of cards we've talked about that could most certainly be here and be involved in the 10th anniversary. So figured this was a good time to bring this up as any. Next up, of course, would be Android/Cell saga. I'm gonna give this a 5 out of 10 simply because it's Gohan, and I think if there's a Gohan represented here at all, since we actually did finally get an anniversary Gohan for 9th anniversary with Beast, they're probably not gonna do Beast again this soon, not for anniversary anyway. So I think if Gohan is here, it is likely going to be his Cell saga variant. I'm kind of in the middle on whether or not I think we'll see this here. I actually think truly this could be Worldwide 2025, a Cell saga true revisit, new LRs for Super Saiyan 2 and Perfect Cell. I think it might be time. That of course brings us to Buu saga, which I'm giving a 9 out of 10. I really just want to honestly say 10 out of 10. It's Super Vegito time, man. Listen, you guys can say we get too many fusions in these games. We have not had a Super Vegito since Worldwide 2020. He has no standalone LRs. Like, it's just been a long time. We got a ton of Super Vegetos in that first few years of the game. I say a ton. We got what, 3? Yeah, not including VB, obviously, just Super Vegito. We got 3. It is most certainly time for a new one, and I think if any fusion is here, it is him. And then last but not least, because again, part 2 full cope, because Broly was a unit last year. We finally got an extreme unit for the first time and had been basically 8 years because first anniversary Janemba, but Kid Buu. There's no way they haven't heard the fandom wanting for this. I don't think he would be anniversary level. I'm sorry. I don't know. There's something about Kid Buu that doesn't scream anniversary level to me, but you got the DFE Buuhan, you got the LR Gotenks. I don't know. Full cope. But Kid Buu anniversary unit finally after all this time of waiting would be pretty sick. What saga do you think is next? The one that would come next. Dragon Ball Daima. I'm giving this an 8 out of 10. Hear me out. If you take a look at the current release schedule of Dragon Ball Daima, when we get to part 2, which last year, Beast Gohan and the Gammas were revealed on the JP side of the game on February 14th. On February 14th of next year, we will be at episode 19 of Dragon Ball Daima. We will be wrapping up Dragon Ball Daima. We know that they already work with the studios and let them see what's happening to design units so they can sort of release them, coincide with what's happening in the show at that time. Take a look at Legends Fest Part 2. Tamagami and Goku were in the game basically 10 days after that episode aired. So with that in mind, it would not surprise me at all. We are now seeing Legends Fest use Daima inside the fest. These are actual festival characters. It would not surprise me at all for part 2 of the 10th anniversary to be Dragon Ball Daima. So I'm giving this an 8 out of 10. I definitely think you should keep Daima on your radar for 10th anniversary for sure. And the one thing we've not mentioned with Daima yet is that there's a looming fusion in the near future in this show. We know it's going to happen somewhere because of the bugs. And the thing we've talked at length in this entire video so far is fusion after fusion after fusion. So would it surprise you if there's a fusion in Daima for it to show up as part 2 of the 10th anniversary? It wouldn't me. Before we go to Super, we do need to talk about the Z movies though, specifically just the Dragon Ball Z movies. I think the most likely thing here would be Super Gogeta and Janemba, because it could be a true 100% callback to the first anniversary and give us those 2 units again. Now, Janemba, obviously on the lesser side of this is more specifically for Super Gogeta, who also does not, again, as I mentioned, has no standalone LR. And I think there is something about Super Gogeta and Super Vegito that have such a legacy in this game. They mean so much. People still talk about first anniversary Super Gogeta in such a positive way because he was just so insane. It was basically you had Super Gogeta or you just didn't play the game, right? That was kind of the first anniversary meta and kind of how everyone felt there. So I'm giving this a 9 out of 10. I do really think Super Gogeta will be involved in some way with this anniversary. That does bring us immediately into Dragon Ball Super with the Battle of Gods arc. I'm giving this 1 out of 10. I don't think this is the time. I don't think they are here. Super Saiyan God Goku will be 2 years old, but I don't know. I don't think this is here. Resurrection F, same thing, 1 out of 10. Now, the one thing I'll mention, which is kind of like a scapegoat here for some of these, but if they do a through the years, all these transformations, whatever it might be, a Goku, that's one of those shots where it literally is like the card art is base Goku in the middle and it just has all of his forms behind him. That is the only way I think that you see Battle of Gods referenced or Resurrection F referenced literally at all in this anniversary. That does bring us to the future arc from Dragon Ball Super, 9 out of 10. I almost thought about saying 8 out of 10, but I think if Super... I really want to believe that this selectable fusion or selectable transformation is a real thing. And I also want to believe that they saw the feedback from the other Vegito Blue and how, I'm sorry, dude, that the Goku Vegeta version of that unit just sucks. Okay, it really just really bad design in Dokkan. So I would not be opposed, even though it's only been a year and a half since our last one, to get another one here, but it be the sort of thing where it's not like Super Vegito and a VB, it's them in the same card and you can choose. So giving it a 9 out of 10 here for that. Next up, we're just going straight to Universe Survival Saga. Obviously, no really representation from Jiren here or UI or Super Saiyan Blue Evolution, I don't think. I think the only thing, if somehow they embrace like full fusions, like full on fusions, I think you could see Kefla because she's kind of one of those units. She's not totally like Kid Buu, right? Like Kid Buu has been such an ongoing thing with the community, but I definitely think Kefla is up there for sort of where is her LR? Where is Kefla representation? It's been a really long time since we've had a Kefla sort of thing. So I'm giving this one a 5 out of 10. I definitely think if Universe Survival Saga is here, it is in the form of a Kefla. Dragon Ball Super Broly. I'm going to go a little softer on this one. I'm going to give this one a 7 out of 10. I think if somehow Gogeta Blue is here again, they've done the other mechanic, right? Gogeta Blue is literally a 9th anniversary character. I think the only way you see him again, period, is if they go through that selectable transformation and they allow you to go to Super Gogeta or to Gogeta Blue. But since those are such drastically different characters, that's why I'm going a little bit softer on him, but we still don't have him standalone. They know that we want him standalone. Never say never on a Gogeta in an anniversary, okay? Of course, next up would be Superhero. I'm giving this a 1 out of 10. I don't think there's anything here that should be here for this. I don't think Orange Piccolo is here. I don't think any of that's here. That feels more Tanabata to me, or even potentially worldwide, maybe even 11th anniversary. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think it's here. I don't think Superhero's here. They had their time to shine last year with Cell Max and Gammas and Beasts. Like, I think it is time that we put Superhero down and we come back to that later. And then there's GT, the Grand Tour. I'm giving this I want to say 9. The thing is, we haven't mentioned this yet, but the DBS Broly, the Goku and Vegeta from 7th anniversary, and the GT SSJ 4s both should get their Easy A during the 10th anniversary. I know this is crazy to say that. They will be 3 years old. They are up for Easy A's. They are probably my most anticipated Easy A's ever in this game. Those are 2 of my favorite units, period. Like, only maybe rivaled by the 5th anniversary LRs, right? So those guys going to be here. If they give us a GT unit, I do think it specifically has to be a new SSJ 4 Gogeta. So I do want to give GT a 9 out of 10 because we are due up for a new SSJ 4 Gogeta. It's been 3 years. It has been 3 years on the dot once 10th anniversary starts. So never say never to some extent. My final sort of crazy, I'm taking like a half court shot kind of thing, buzzer beater shot. Instead of it being a Gogeta Blue and Super Gogeta character, somehow it is an SSJ 4 Gogeta and Super Gogeta character with a Super Vegito and Vegito Blue character. That is truly it. Like, if you wanted me to really pin it down to what I think it could be, I think that is your part 1 unit. So that's why I'm giving GT a 9 out of 10, because I think somewhere, somehow GT shows up, and I just think it'd be in the form of SSJ 4 Gogeta. And that's everything.
And I'm not done yet!
Oh, I guess that's right. There are technically 2 more sagas of Dragon Ball that we haven't spoke on yet, and I haven't given a rating towards. And that, of course, is Moro and Granola. Now, obviously, most of us are very hands-off with this topic because we sort of have this understanding that they can't touch manga related things, right? They don't have the rights to it, and that's why you're not seeing it in any of the games. It's why when you guys comment down below and you're like, why do they never bring this up? It's because we don't have like 100% confirmation on this, but it's just this understood thing that they can't touch that stuff. And especially in Dokkan, because Dokkan specifically looks like the anime. Most of Dokkan super attacks are 1-to-1 recreations of how they look in their reference material from the anime or the movies. But this is the 10th anniversary, and if Akatsuki and Bandai were able to pull off something crazy and manage to get the rights to do manga characters, that would blow everyone away. Now, my guess is if they were able to do this, these would be very unique cards in the fact that they would be animated like the manga. They would literally have a manga style to them and would not be able to probably be fully colored, and would be almost like animated manga panels. Basically, those animated music videos that you've seen, it would have to be very similar to that, or similar to like the One Piece cards, if you've seen those, where it's like the character is colored and then they have the manga panels in black and white behind them. It would be something very similar to that, like in my opinion, if they were to do it right now. And this would also then open up the ability that when or if the Dragon Ball Super ever comes back and they animate them, they can then do variants of them then that are animated based on the actual anime, versus these would be characters based on the manga. So if this were to happen, my guess would be a part 1 Moro and UI, obviously, and a part 2 Ego, Vegeta, and Granola. Now, I'm going to give this a 1 out of 10 because I don't think this will happen, because it sounds I know how crazy this sounds, I do. But because I think there is a tiny, small chance of it happening, I wanted to put it in here just to see. So if you enjoyed this video, hopefully you'll enjoy this one too. You can click on this one. Hope you guys hit that like button, subscribe to be here for the 10th anniversary, because it's insanely close. Like, we'll be reacting to units in a month. That's nuts. So appreciate you guys, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.